Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is race number 17 in season number 6 of the NOFSRL Turkey Hill Truck Series. It's the penultimate race of the season. This, the Mello Yello Zero 200 from the Darlington Raceway, and what a race for it to be the next to last race of the season, the race that sets up the finale. It's one of the toughest places any of these guys could go to, a very narrow track, and if you get stuck in the outside lane in the wrong place, you're gonna lose a ton of positions, so anything is possible, and especially considering where our three championship contenders start. Fisher GR points leader, 440 points towards the championship, has a 51-point lead ahead of Edwin Mendez, and if he leaves this race with a 41-point lead or higher, he clinches the championship here today. But with both Edwin Mendez and Dan Park 55 points behind, starting way ahead of him. Marty, how is he going to manage this race to avoid losing a ton of ground and taking the championship to Miami?
Well, we're at the Darlington Raceway anyway, so, we've got a narrow track. If I am Fisher G in that 43 car, you got to keep that nose clean and try and avoid as much of the high side as possible, because if you get on the high side, it's usually common for these trucks or cars, depending on what we're racing, to get that famed Darlington stripe. If you're Fisher G, you got to commit to the low line most of the race, and try and use the draft as much as possible on the straightaways to try and get towards the front. Maybe we may see a wreck or two, and also the pit crew has to be a big key. You have to be flawless, no mistakes. If you combine all that together, I think we have a champion going into the final race.
We'll have to see how it all plays out. Of course, Nathan Baird, Chick-fil-A Cup Series champion, clinched the championship right here at Darlington back in August, so we'll have to see if Darlington crowns another champion, which is quite ironic because next season, this is where the championship races are going to be held for the Chick-fil-A Cup Series and Turkey Hill Series back in, or forward into 2020. We'll have to see how it all goes down here today. Of course, that outside lane doesn't work out too well through turns 1 and 2, but through turns 3 and 4 it can sometimes work, so that makes this place very interesting. These guys got to watch out for the exit of turn 2 as well. Lots of times they get loose, they hit that outside wall, and it causes an accident. One more thing that's very important in today's race: we will have a set of pit stops, and we estimate it's going to be around lap 31, 32, 33. Mind to tell you, this is only a 38-lap race, so if we go caution-free until the end, we're going to have pit stops right at the end of this thing, and that could definitely shake up the field. Starting on the pole position, it's the number 19 machine of Alexander Rowe. We have not seen much of Rowe this season, but great to see him win the pole position. He's alongside the number 14 of Chase Marks, a two-time winner this season at the ISM Raceway and the Texas Motor Speedway. And Edwin Mendez, a championship contender. He has an awesome opportunity to gain a ton of points on Fisher G here today. He could get the race victory and Fisher G stay where he is. He'll have a shot at easily clinching the championship at Homestead next week. Alongside him, it's Igor Barreto, Jason Tucker, and Dale Lightning right there. You got Chris Skidler and Eli Bright. Josh Williamson alongside the other championship contender, Dan Park, who won the Craftsman Throwback Series race here back in August. We'll have to see what he can do in the number 2 machine. And all the way back in the 31st starting position, it's our points leader, Fisher G. And like I mentioned, if he leaves this race with a 41-point lead or higher, he clinches the championship. But Marty, it's going to be pretty difficult to do so. Do you think he's going to win the race, or will it be somebody else in victory lane here at Darlington?
I think, with him starting in 41st position, or 31st position, I don't think he gets the win, but I think he does a good job gaining towards the front, where I think we have a champion, but we'll have to see what happens.
So Alexander Rowe and Chase Marks on the front row. We're going to have to see who gets this race victory. 38 laps here at Darlington. Pace truck is in. Let's do it. The penultimate race of the season in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. Only 3 races left in the year. A Napa fan win at stake. Green flag in the air. The lady in black. Chase Marks did a great job. Not falling back on the outside lane there. Going to file in the second. Alex in a row, though, with the bonus point towards the championship and the lap lead. That's another opportunity for Edwin Mendez. Every point counts in this championship. If he can get a lap lead, that's a bonus point towards the championship for him. Dan Park, on the other hand, is falling behind in the number 2. He's already fallen to the 12th position, now losing a couple more positions as Cole Sampson and Eli Bright get around him on that lap. But back to the race lead. It's still Alex in a row holding on single file ahead of Chase Marks. Mendez looking to get a run on the 64.
Yeah, you can see coming into today's race, the qualifying session, I don't think we barely saw anyone commit to the high side. Everyone was going to the low line. See on the track all that rubber that's on the bottom right now. No one wants to go to the high side, get up in those marbles, and hit the Darlington stripe. But Marks may have to try and challenge here to the lead, not just yet.
Alex in a row remaining out front. Mendez right behind in third. Jason Tucker and Chris Skidlar are looking to get some good runs before the season ends. Of course, they've had tough seasons. There goes Marks to the inside. He's got it. And 19 almost hit the outside wall. He might actually get a bit of a run there off the outside. Jason Tucker has a run on Mendez. He's going to try the inside through turns 3 and 4, and he might get it right there on the 63. He will. He's got a run to the inside of Alex in a row, but Rowe will clear and remain in second. Will Mendez be able to clear Tucker entering turn number 1? It looks like he will, and Mendez will remain in the 3rd position. Dan Park
the gap, though, Napa
is going to fall back here to the 15th position right now, and Fisher G's all the way back. He has not gained much ground. As a matter of fact, he's in 35th right now. That means that Mendez, the way they currently run, would gain 32 points on the 43 machine, and it would be a 19-point differential heading in the Homestead, which is plenty enough for Mendez to break on Fisher G in that finale race. We'll have to see how this race goes on here, but it's going to be interesting to see how these guys finish at the end of the race. But Fisher G is currently struggling here in the Mello Yello Zero 200.
Not what the 43 wants already. I was going to say earlier, though, but when Marks made the pass on the 19 of Rowe, he just checked out. Look at the gap he's already put on second. It's the downforce and the clean air at this track in a truck like Darlington. And in a track like Darlington, I should say, you want to have that clean air big time.
And of course, these guys do not have the low downforce like the Cup cars do. And reminder, in the Chick-fil-A Cup, we run the low downforce package over there. So these guys tend to stay in their respective positions a little bit longer than they do when the Cup Series comes here. But the number 63 of Edwin Mendez, he's been in the same position this entire race, looking to find something on the 19 of Alex in a row so he can close in. But I think Mendez is just managing this race right now. He knows he has a golden opportunity at closing in there on Fisher G in the points. He's going to try to make the move on Alex in a row right here off of turn number 2. Chris Skidlar put Jason Tucker in the outside, and he lost a couple of positions. Agar Barreto inside the top 5 right now for Tyler Ferris's team. But Marks pulling away in the 14. Mendez up to second. That's another point right there for the 63. That last lap around, Fisher G was in the last position, and he is still at the end of the field. What is going on with this team? They dominated early on the past couple of races. I'm not to tell you the last 2 races were super speedways, Armory Digital and Talladega, but this is very unlike them here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series.
You know, I'm not really too sure. Perhaps pit strategy, because like you mentioned, the fuel went about 31 through 33 laps. I think what Fisher's trying to do here is just try and save some fuel here early on at the moment. But right now, in my opinion, if I were the 43, if the saving fuel, if he is going 100% right now, and he's not improving at the moment like he is, look at that, the gap is like the same between him and the 94. I would try and put a short pitting strategy. If you pit maybe 1 or 2 laps earlier, maybe try and gain some spots, because car will obviously be up to full speed at the moment compared to the ones that are just exiting the pits.
Well, whatever happens, what's about to happen if Mendez takes the lead is the absolute worst-case scenario for Fisher G. The guy who's nearest to him in the points, 51 points behind, leading the race, if Mendez takes the lead, and himself in last. That would be a 39-point gap, point gain, basically, if Mendez were to win and not lead the most laps. But if Mendez were to lead the most laps, it would be a 40-point gain. meaning that Mendez would only be 11 points behind heading in the Homestead. Now that's if Mendez takes the lead. Of course, Fisher G just gained a position on Adam Garcia right there, but it is tough to move your way through the field here. I mean, keep in mind right here, Fisher G is 8 seconds off the race leader right now. That is very difficult to close in a place like this, and I wouldn't imagine he's going to be able to find the race lead in this thing. So, G's got to just hope that Mendez falls back in some way, shape, or form. And even Dan Park's going to have a shot the way things are going. He's in the top 10 right now, looking to close in by a lot. And just think, I mentioned this at Talladega, just think if he did not have that issue at Chicagoland when he started on the pole, he wouldn't have lost near as many points on Fisher G, and he might actually had a chance at taking the points lead in this race if that didn't happen. But Dan Park, this is a very good place for him. He has had a career year here on Napa Fan. 4 wins already, going for number 5, and he's got a chance at doing so. Currently inside the top 10 here at Darlington, but Chase Marks pulling away, has led the most laps so far, but Edwin Mendez going to do all he can to take this lead away and have that best shot at the championship heading in the Homestead on Christmas Day.
You know, I think what Mendez was doing in that number, I'm sorry, what number is he again?
63.
63, thank you. But anyway, I think, you know, Mendez got up to the bumper for a moment, but decided not to make the pass on the inside. You know, it's early on in the race. It's a 38-lap race. We're on only lap 14 already. I think he's just trying to play it safe. Just read what the 14 truck is doing, as we got a good battle here between Skinlar and Barretto.
Bigger Bro trying to make a move on Chris Skinler, but something I'm noticing here today is that passing is difficult, and now the tires have worn out quite a bit. It's going to get even worse for these guys. Dan Park, however, is making it work there in the number 2 machine, and he knows he has a really good opportunity in this race. And Fisher G's still in the back. Something happened to Fitzwater right there. Actually, I don't think he might have gotten Darlington stripe. It's possible, but Fisher G still in 35th. This is just a disaster for that team. I mean, they cannot have this going into the finale race. And you got to think the momentum going into Homestead as well for Fisher G. That is huge for that team. And here we go. Mendez had a really, really good run through the corner. But he's coming up to turn 3 and 4. It's hard to make a pass through those 2 corners right
going
there.
For it. Ooh.
Not going to be able to make it there through turns 3 and 4. Of course, we saw in the Southern 500 back in August, Josh Marzak tried to make a move on the final lap on Seth Cole. Couldn't do it. It was a doozy of a finish at the line, but Seth Cole ended up getting his 3rd win of the season. So that outside lane coming to the finish is usually where you want to be.
Absolutely there, and I almost had a glitch for a moment. But yeah, I think, you know, when Mendez tried to peek left, I think it cost him some momentum there for a moment, because now the gap between 1st and 3rd, I'd say, is even right now between Mendez. But still, if you look at that battle for 3rd, Barretto still having an issue trying to get by the 12 of Skinlar, and right now trying to close in on that in 5th position at the moment, Dale Lightning in that 31.
Great run for Dale Lightning here at Darlington. And Trey Bartow, how about my man Trey Bartow right there? He actually has won this exact race twice in his career. Actually, nah, you know what? I think he's only won this race once before. It was Rockingham that he won twice before. But this race used to be at the beginning of the season. And Bartow had won it once in the past. You got Alexander Rowe making a move on the outside of Dan Park. And Dan Park's starting to fall back a little bit right there in the number 2 machine. But he's still inside the top 10, way ahead of Fisher G, who's still all the way back, 10 seconds off the race lead in 35th. He has just not been able to get anywhere in this race. There is no Wangu who's going to gain another position on him right there, but every point's going to count for that number 43, because every position's going to count at Homestead next week if he's still going to have a shot at losing the championship. But it's absolute worst case scenario for him coming into this race. And Mendez doing all he can to find a way around Chase Marks, but like I said, he's been doing a great job keeping this 63 in contention for this race win and not losing it here today at Darlington.
Staying up there good with that 14 of Marks, you know, trying to stay in the draft, not take any risks here. Like, we're about halfway through the race. Just stay behind. You know, I thought after Marks made the pass that clean air would be a man's best friend. Right now, that draft working well for Mendez, and he's up to that bumper after crossing the line.
Had a good run off the corner. But he's not going to be able to suck up to him, and I don't know if the draft's a good thing here or not. Just about hitting your corner and getting that run off. These guys have not been able to really make much moves here today at Darlington. Barretto trying to make a move on Skinlar. He's been behind him for the past 10 laps or so, but these guys are pretty much waiting until we get that cycle of pit stops, and it looks like this is going to be a pretty clean race, and I would imagine this thing's going to go caution-free. You never know what could happen in one of these races, but if it does go caution-free, we're going to be seeing those pit stops in about 10 laps, 12 laps, and it's going to be right near the end of this race when they're coming down, so that's going to really shake up the field. And it's all going to come down to the strategy on the pit lane. Do you want a short pit, or do you want to come in later on with it only being 5 laps left to the finish?
In my opinion here, especially if I'm a guy like Fisher G, like I mentioned earlier, try and short pit, because you'll have your car up to power earlier after the pit stops, unlike after the cycle, unlike the other drivers that pit in at around that window at the moment. But G right now, in about 33rd, if I were to guess correctly right now, and not even gaining toward that battle for 32nd.
So we'll have to see what happens to him in this race. I think Mendez has a goal in mind, and that's to win this race, but he doesn't want to lose his second place position. That's important for Edwin Mendez, but looking for a second win of the year. Won at Pocono not too long ago, back earlier in the month.
Real quick, Napa, I think Skinlar just pitted in the 12. I do not see him at
he just got passed by Barretto, and that's the thing. But throw you off there. If you get stuck in the outside lane, you lose a ton of ground. No joke. That's why these guys are kind of staying single file. You don't see much double wide here because they just can't stay double wide through
There's
turns
no rubber
1
on
and 2.
the high side in the turns. This is a one-groove track.
It is 100% a one-groove racetrack here at the Darlington Raceway in turns 1 and 2. But turns 3 and 4, that outside lane can work, and that's why we tend to see this single file go on. Because they try to make moves entering turn number 3, and they can't make it stick. You got to get the run off of turn 4 to get down low on turn 1 and make the pass. Barretto looks pretty strong, and he's had a really tough season here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series, but he might just pull a rabbit out of a hat and get this one here at Darlington. Of course, a lot of the winners we've seen lately have been guys we really haven't seen much of on Napa Fan in the past. I mean, we've seen Barretto around for quite a while, but not too many wins on his career. Been kind of a just average career for Igor Barretto, but Matthew Brown got the win last week, or back on Wednesday, I should say, and then last week, which Armory Digital was Mechanical in the Wang, only his second career Napa Fan win. And before that, we had Trey Smith get the race victory in his first career Napa Fan win. So a lot of the recent winners have not been those long-time veterans, and all the guys right now inside the top 5 are those guys who don't have near as much experience as the Trey Bartos or Jesse Turners of the field. But Chase Marks looking for his 3rd win of the season. He is definitely a solid driver trying to get this race victory ahead of Edwin Mendez. I think at this point, it's coming down to pit strategy, and Mendez is just going to have to hope that Barretto doesn't try to make a move on him. Oh, but he got a run there. Marks overshot the corner. And he went up the racetrack right there. Marks almost in the outside wall. That's going to affect Mendez. He could not get that inside lane to stick there. And he better not let Barretto get to the outside when through the corner, because you can make a pass there through turns 3 and 4 if you're not careful. Mendez, though, is going to get another run here off of turn 4 for the race lead. Focus back on Fisher D. He's up again another position to 32nd, but he's 12 seconds behind. He's probably going to finish outside the top 30 most likely in today's race. Still going to be a huge point save for Edwin Mendez. Dan Park is up to 6th. Of course, the top 5 have pulled away from the rest of the field. Dan Park is 4 seconds off the race lead as the top 5 are all within a second of each other here. As within about 3 or 4 laps, we'll have pit stops here in the Mello Yello Zero 200.
You know, Mendez, I think, is just trying to take a risk here before pit stop. Just wants to make sure he's got the lead, has the clean air coming in, because, you know, if you're behind one of these trucks at the moment when you come down pit road, you don't want to have someone like maybe brake check in front of you and have damage on your truck. So I'm not too sure here, but it'll be interesting to see what happens as Skinlar, he's caught back up to Dale Whiting in a good battle for 4th.
These guys all have a shot at the race victory. I say the top 5. And then Dan Parks pulled away a little bit, so it looks like he's going to be pretty solid for a top 10. So both Mendez and Park are going to have a shot at this championship. And Fisher G, he's just not doing enough in the short amount of time that he has in this thing. Still deep in the field, currently 32nd right now for the number 43 machine.
Nothing just working out for him right now, but, you know, looking at Barretto right now, you know, he got by Skinlar. In my opinion, Igor,
he's got the best long run car here. I don't think he's going to have anything. It's so hard to make a pass in turn 3, because that outside lane works so well through the corner. It's just so difficult to make it stick. Mendez is going to try to get another run here before the cycle begins, but Chase Marks has been the strongest truck of the day here. He has led over half of this race. He's going to get that extra bonus point towards the championship, so that's something that went in Fisher G's favor. Mendez is actually yet to lead a lap in this race, so we'll have to see if he can do so, but I know Mendez would love to get one extra point in this race for leading a lap.
Looking.
And he's going to get one. Chase Marks is going to come down the pit lane, and Mendez will stay out here. And I just don't know if that's what Mendez wants to do, because these guys are going to get tires. Dan Park's going to get tires, and they're going to have that slight advantage. See, Fisher G's staying out there. I'm not entirely sure if that's what you want to do, but I think these guys are also thinking, what if we get a caution? Lots of times they don't transfer down to the pit lane too well, and we end up with some wrecks down the backstretch, so we'll have to see how it all goes down. Mendez is going to come down right here. And Dale Lightning's going to stay out, but Mendez did get a bonus point towards the championship. He led a lap right there. Chase Marks is down the pit lane. He is in his pit stall right now. Dan Park taking tires, and this is the kind of track you want to take 4 tires at. Because it is difficult to get anything to work when you do not have tires. And the majority of the field coming down, including Fisher G in the 43, but he's deep in the field. We'll have to see if he gains on the field here at Darlington. A few guys still out there. Dale Lightning, Skylar Perry, and Ace Garcia. And Chase Marks is here in the number 14. He's going to merge right in between Ace Garcia and Trey Smith. But no issues on the transfer. There is Dan Park in the number 2. He is behind Chase Marks right now. And number 14 continuing to lead. Here are the rest of the drivers coming off the pit lane. And they are led by the 63 of Edwin Mendez. There is Chase Marks entering turn number 1. There's Mendez coming off of turn number 4. And it's going to be close right here. He's going to have to really power it into the corner. Side by side. Almost got into each other. Mendez has the inside lane and the slightly fresher tires. And Mendez doing all he can to win this race. If he holds the inside in turn 1, he's going to get it on Chase Marks. This is for the race lead. Marks able to get the outside lane to work.
What a tough break there for Mendez. I thought for a moment if he just drove it in deep in turn 1 but didn't want to risk the car, he would have had a chance at taking the lead and the groove away from Chase Marks, but Marks gets it back. What a close call.
Last year, John Arndt won the championship as he won the penultimate race, putting him in championship contention in the finale. Mendez is trying to do the same. He did an excellent job. He didn't lose any ground to Chase Marks, and he still has a shot at getting around him these final few laps. It's about 0.2 of a second, the gap between Chase Marks and Edwin Mendez with 4 laps to go. At the end of the cycle, Fisher G is 31st, so Mendez is going to have a huge chance at Homestead to win the Turkey Hill Truck Series Championship, and Dan Park as well will still be in the hunt as he will finish most likely in the 6th position here today. Here we go. 3 to go at Darlington for Chase Marks. Absolutely dominating performance out of the 14, but he's got to hold off a possible championship contender in Edwin Mendez. Will he get the run on the 14 in these final 3 laps?
Here's my next question here. Will we have lap traffic, though, ahead? I don't think we will.
I don't believe we will. Nobody is wrecked in this race, and everyone is full speed, so we should be good to go for these final 2 laps here at Darlington. Mendez trying to get the run, but it has been near impossible to make a pass here today at Darlington. He did get a lap led, so he did get that bonus point, so that's big for Mendez. But he wants the race victory, and he knows he has a shot at it. If he can get a run off at turn number 2, he might have a shot into turn number 3, but we've seen turn 3 be a really difficult place to make a pass here at Darlington. He's just got to keep the back bumper and get him in turn 1. He's going to try right here. He's not going to have enough. It's going to be the white flag next time by here in the Mello Yello Zero 200 at Darlington. Edwin Mendez, he's got to run this time. Will he make the move entering turn 1?
I think he's waiting till turn 3 here.
And that's not what you need to do. You can't do that. You can't wait till turn 3. He's going to see what he can do here off at turn number 2. Edwin Mendez, he's going to have a run on the 14. He's going to make a move to the inside. He's got all the momentum.
You gotta go right here if you want.
He didn't get it in time. Chase Marks in the 14, going to be his third win of the season in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. But Mendez is going to have a shot at the championship. But Chase Marks wins the Mello Yello Zero 200. Mendez finishes in the second position and all the way in the back of the field, around the 30th position, and he gained a couple there. Fisher G is not yet crossed the line, but he's going to finish 20 seconds behind the race leader in 30th. And with that, that's going to be a 30-point gain for Edwin Mendez. It'll be a 21-point gap heading him to Homestead. It's still in Fisher G's favor, but Mendez has all the momentum heading into the finale race at Homestead. And if he can do exactly what he did here today, he's going to win that championship on Christmas Day. But Chase Marks, third win of the season for Christian Russell's team, Robin Hood Racing. And Chase Marks, a great season here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. Three-time winner, the only three-time winner we've had all season here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series season number 6.
That's a big performance there for Edwin Mendez, no doubt about it. This Homestead title run just changed the game big time. Got a more exciting race on Christmas Day.
And Chase Marks the race winner with Edwin Mendez just a fraction of a second behind him. And you got Igor Barreto, great run for him, Chris Skinler, Dan Lightning, and Dan Park as well. You cannot count out Dan Park in this championship hunt. He is going to have a huge shot at the championship as well, and he did a great job. He gained about 24 points. We're going to give you the points here soon as you take a look at the finishing results. But Chase Marks, a great performance out of him. He led a majority of this event. And we'll see what the official lap count is here in a moment for him. But how about that performance out of Chase Marks here at the Darlington Raceway?
Dominating, qualifying was a key, coming in and just made a great run inside on a road when it happened to get the lead in the W, and just looked ahead the entire way. Didn't even had to focus on Mendez obviously, but looked forward the most and definitely got a dominating win.
32 of 38 laps led for Chase Marks in this race. That is dominating, but Mendez got a lap led, and it actually will be 22 points behind Fisher G. But if you look right there at the top 5s and the top 10s, remember how we were talking about how dominant Fisher G was at the beginning of the season, and he had all those top 5s and top 10s compared to the rest of the field. Well, now Edwin Mendez has matched that. 7 top 5s, 10 top 10s for Mendez, the exact same number as Fisher G. But Mendez has that race victory and all the momentum heading him to Homestead. Dan Park 31 points behind, and my friend, we're going to have a championship battle at Homestead. And anything is possible when we head there. We're going to go back and use the original Homestead we used for a lot of the finales that we've done in the past. So not the one we used for the Chick-fil-A Cup Series this year. We'll probably see some wrecks in that race, and we might see Fisher G possibly get involved in that wreck. And we could see Mendez or Dan Park find a way to win the championship. But what are your championship predictions here for Christmas Day in the New Era 259?
I've known Edwin Mendez for a long time. I believe this is his first big chance at actually winning a title. I think he wants it bad. I think something big happens with Edwin Mendez. He's got the momentum. He's got all the hype on him to try and win this title. I think he can get it, but we'll just have to wait and see.
So Fisher G is going to have to work for it at Homestead. That's going to be Christmas night, 5 p.m. Eastern, December 25th at the Homestead Miami Speedway, the New Era 259. And it's going to be one heck of a race. I'll be joining alongside Marty for that one, and I'm looking forward to see who gets it done here in the final race of the year on Napa Fan as well. So one last race to cap off the year, cap off the decade, and we're going to have a championship battle involved with this, so stick around. I hope you guys enjoy it. It is going to be a great show on Christmas night in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Chase Marks in his race victory. And we'll see you guys on Christmas night for the New Era 259 in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. On behalf of Marty Zakala, see you guys Christmas Eve as well for the Christmas Eve 500. And then for the final race of the year at Homestead next Wednesday night at 5 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later.